I think I'm going to tease SPD lip sync battle up on the Space Needle.
Okay, I'm going to tease a new trend where people are landing jobs, but then when they show up, they're supposed to show up to work, and they don't show up. They're just like ghosting their employers.
Just like leaving.
It's kind of this millennial trend, and like all these companies are doing their practice, like changing their policies. Did he just ghost us?
Did he just do what you said?
Is he coming back? Pete?
We're going to learn something. We're not content with just the headlines or the typical talking points.
It's a refreshingly honest conversation about what's going on.
It's about connecting our community and doing something to really make a difference.
We're taking today's stories and bringing positivity back.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Take 5. It is Thursday. We're so glad to see you just hanging out in the 5 Hive here. I'm going to walk over and introduce you to everybody.
What's up?
You know Jordan.
Ow.
By now you know Jenna.
Oh, hey.
And Angela. Thanks so much. I love our new music. It's kind of catchy. We were singing it before the show.
And the little skit that we had before the show, obviously one of the big topics that we were talking about is people ghosting, right? These employees, they're either not showing up on their first day of the job, they're missing out on interviews, and so there are these companies that are trying to limit that.
That's crazy.
We're going to talk about this. Can you imagine?
It's crazy.
I would never do that.
Absolutely
And
not.
we know you would never do that.
Of course.
No one's
Other people, we're talking about, And also, we're going to be going out in the water with our intern, Lily. Have you got a chance to see her yet? She's really cool. She's going to have the story about this rowing club that's trying to make the sport more accessible to everybody.
And that actually leads up.
1,
Oh.
2.
Uh-oh. Are they jumping in?
Yeah.
What are they doing? Oh, they are.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, that actually leads us into the question of the day. If money were not a factor, what sport or hobby would you try?
Ooh, it's a good question. Is flying's a sport?
Or a hobby.
We can go with that.
Flying. That's
Flying.
happening.
I think about skiing, like
Skiing,
for all
that's
of
what I
our
would wanna do.
kids. It's just so
Skiing.
expensive.
It is
That's true.
expensive.
Yeah.
The lift, the skis,
Right.
the equipment.
Good. No, this is good.
Text
We'd love
us.
to get your
Yeah.
info about what sports you'd like to come if there was no money involved. Okay, time now for the Fast Five. These are 5 topics, 5 stories that we want to get you. They say in one breath. I don't know if that's physically possible, but here we go. Starbucks is opening its first U.S. cafe staffed by employees who are partially or fully deaf and capable of communicating in American Sign Language. So the company is converting an existing Starbucks location in Washington, D.C. into a signing store, and that's going to open in early October. Pretty cool. The King County Board of Health is meeting today to talk about health concerns within some homeless camps. Deaths among King County's homeless are up from years past. Experts are saying a large part is due to consistent exposure to wet, unsanitary conditions and the illnesses contracted from those environments. And this one stings a little bit. It's official. Former Sonic Kevin Durant will help close Key Arena in Seattle. The Sacramento Kings will take on the Golden State Warriors and Durant at Key Arena on Friday, October 5th at 7:30. The venue's not hosted an NBA game since the Sonics left Seattle back in 2008. Wow is right. Yakima's Rattlesnake Ridge landslide is slowing down. Geologists say it's now moving at about 1.2 feet per week at the fastest points and then less than a foot per week at its slower points. This massive crack near Union Gap originally appeared in October back in 2017.
If we choose to listen and we choose to act with empathy, we can draw strength from each other. We may suffer alone, but we survive together. Thank you.
So did you guys see that? Olympic gold medalist Ali Raisman is one of the hundreds of athletes who accused former sports doctor Larry Nassar of sexual abuse. They were honored with the Arthur Ashe Award for Courage. An amazing moment there. And of course, you guys text us the word FAST to the number on the screen, 206-448-4545, and we'll shoot you a link with all those details, or all those stories.
The most powerful moment for me during her entire speech was when she started listing all of the years when girls reported what was going on. So she started saying, I'm just throwing out dates here. She was like 1997, 1999, 2000. I mean, there were so many dates. And then she said, and this is what people told us. Oh, you just got it wrong. Oh, he's a doctor. And she was like, all we needed was someone with integrity to do something. And that, to me, that was just, the way that was put together, I was like, it's a reminder to us all to listen. And I thought it was just so good for them. I'm glad they got up there and shared their story.
It's powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
Very powerful.
Well, look, at the beginning of the show, we were talking about this idea of ghosting, but not only just ghosting, but ghosting if you put in for a job or you're supposed to show up at a job. Apparently, the job market is just going so strong now that recruiters and employers are noticing this trend. So people are just ghosting out of their interviews, even blowing off work. For example, USA Today reports that one business in California has had 65 job candidates not show up for their interviews just in the last couple of months.
Wow. What?
I know, I know. What?
That's
The USA Today article also says that some businesses are reporting 20 to 50% of interviewees and employees are blowing off their interview or their jobs. And get this, more and more people are actually accepting job offers, but then not showing up on the first day.
That is insane.
Well, someone had a better offer, I guess. I don't know. But what about integrity?
Exactly.
Okay, so the reason for this, the unemployment rate in May hit this 18-year low, so more jobs are available. Ghosting is happening across all industries, but USA Today says the biggest issues are happening with lower paying jobs in construction, truck driving, and manufacturing. And some companies are responding to this by actually changing their interview process by bringing in a bunch of people at once. And they said that just gives people a sense of competition. And then another thing some of the companies are doing is making, like if you have the interview, saying, okay, you start in a couple days versus you start in 2 weeks. And then you're not, I know, it's she's
Well, I mean, I guess the strangest thing to me is that you never know who you're going to see again, right? Or who's going to remember you. Especially in this business, right? You can come across the same person at a different job in a different location. So if I'm trying to hire somebody and I remember that you ghosted me on the interview, what's the likelihood I'll hire you again?
But,
or call you back for an interview.
So I'm trying to think about this in an employee's standpoint. If you're like, okay, I'm right out of school, I got to get my job, I got 4 interviews, great, I'm going to go on all of them, and then you get 2 offers.
Right.
I guess the respectable thing to do for them just not showing up, that's not cool. You got to at least tell the employer you're not going to be there. But if you have your choices, you obviously want to give yourself the best position to move forward. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be telling them that they're not going to be working for them or not showing up. That's just disrespectful.
People remember that behavior.
They do.
They absolutely do. But on the flip side of things, right, I should say I've never not shown up when I said I was going to show up. I've always shown up when I've seen show up. But how many times do you put out like your resume or you know put out your application and you get nothing back from a business?
Yeah.
You know, it just like goes in the internet and then just stays there. You know, and you're like, can I get a confirmation that someone saw this?
Right.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Just saying.
So you're saying it's maybe a little bit of a clapback.
A little bit where you're like, oh, the job market's great. Okay.
So I have a question. What word did we use before the word ghosting? Like,
disappearing.
Yeah,
I know. I
Not
love,
showing up.
I just love
Flaky.
how
Flaky.
Yeah, flaking out maybe.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, you guys never flake out because you're always texting us during the show. We appreciate it. In fact, we've gotten one text on this particular topic. Someone said, just had a new employee show up for 7 days and then disappeared. Super frustrating. It takes a lot of time and money to hire people. I don't understand this trend or behavior.
Yeah,
I agree.
And you were saying those industries that are more susceptible to that. I've got a couple of family members who have their own business, whether it's floor covering or construction work, and they say the hardest thing about their industry is finding a reliable employee to stick with them because people are always moving on. So it is hard for people who have their own businesses too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
King County is apparently getting more diverse. The Seattle Times says new census data shows King County has actually grown at a record-breaking pace in the past decade. And for the first time, people of Asian descent make up a majority of that growing population. The census data shows the number of Asians in King County increased more than 19,000 from July 2016 to July 2017, and that is 59% of the county's growth. The Times says the Latino population saw the second biggest growth of 6,000 people last year, which is an 18% increase. African American people accounted for 10% of King County's growth, so double digits all around. But get this, the new data found a slowdown of growth in King County's white population. Well, it's 1 out of 3. It's 1 out of 4.
Okay. I am moving this weekend, but I'm staying in King County. I'm staying in King County. I'm staying in King County. I'm borderline though.
Sorry, like a body language expert. Like, what does that mean?
It's all good.
We'll
Give me
miss,
a hug.
we'll miss you
I
in
like
King
that.
County.
I'm holding the fort down. I'm holding the fort down, okay? All right, did you guys get a lot of the, well, if anybody was paying attention to the Space Needle today, you saw that Seattle PD took over the Needle. We went, well, we sent Sky King up there to check things out, see what's going on. It looked a little concerning, but needn't worry. Today, they were still there for fun, shooting more of their lip sync battle. They're going to be responding to a challenge, or they are responding to that Norfolk Police Department challenge. Their video has them singing along to Macklemore's Downtown, and of course, you can't recreate the video without the most iconic symbol of Seattle, the Space Needle. We've been following Seattle PD as they sing and dance their way through the city, and we cannot wait for their final product. I think they said they're still a week or two away from releasing it.
Oh, I can't wait.
remember the
It's
date.
exciting.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Well, speaking of the Seattle Police Department, you may have caught a glimpse of Carmen Best as well as Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin. Kings 5's Alex Rozier, he sat down with Durkin and the recently nominated Seattle Police Chief Carmen Best, and they discussed community concerns about racial bias and policing.
No tolerance for racial bias, and I know people are concerned about it. Some of the things that we're doing, part of it is training. You know, we started with perspectives on profiling, race to power and illusion. Then we went to lessons learned from the Holocaust. We've done, all of our command staff has gone through undoing institutional racism training by the People's Institute. We're working with our Office of Civil Rights, making sure that we are fully engaged in the city's Race and Social Justice Initiative. We're going to make sure that we touch on those issues of race, and that we're direct and head on with them. We're just not going to tolerate racism.
Mayor, any thoughts?
You know, I think that, you know, if you look at the history of our country, institutional racism is something that's really hard for people to deal with. But we got to be upfront about it. We got to acknowledge it. And if you look at policing, it's one of those institutions where there's always been a lot of friction. We got to bridge that gap between communities and police officers. It's one thing that this chief is going to be the best chief we've ever had, and is understanding every officer is a community police officer, and bridging that gap in the smallest of circumstances, whether it's the good morning and, you know, the hello in the morning, or the interaction they have to do as officers. So I think that we've got a long ways to go. We got to listen to community. We've got to make sure that everything we do, we understand the history we come from.
I like what you said about remembering our history, but then also making community a priority.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
those conversations with the community, because we got to keep talking.
Yeah, it was good to see them together.
Yeah.
At the interview this morning.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Did you notice the Take 5 couch?
I noticed it.
Little shout out to Gary.
Well, you know, we know that every bit of savings counts, especially around here. So let's save the mom way and maximize our money. I love saying it like that. Sorry. You know, if you have any Harry Potter fans in your house, there's a really cool event at Target this weekend. So you can head back to Hogwarts Saturday from 11 to 2, and they're going to have giveaways, readings, like toy demos, lots of photo ops as well. And this is all to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Are
Can
these
you believe
all-
it's been 20 years?
Are these all Target stores?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, Jordan, because I did put in my zip code, and if I can just make this a little bit bigger, Northgate, Linwood, Seattle, Pike Place, or Pike Plaza, Woodinville, lots of stores in our area are having
good.
the event as well. So you can just plug in your number, your zip code if you want. Also, what else was I going to show you? Oh, I've got some video of other things. Speaking of Target, there is a teacher discount on supplies in stores and online all this week, and that is 15% off classroom supplies, which also includes daycares, early childhood centers, and even homeschools. So that's a great deal because we know that a lot of teachers are spending their own money on supplies. And if you have a college student in your life, you may want to make sure they sign up for Amazon Prime, because you can get 6 months of free Amazon Prime for students, for college students, and then once that 6 months is over, then you can also get your Prime membership for half off if you continue it. So I thought that was pretty cool, right? And then just one more, there is something going on this weekend at the Olympic oh my gosh, Olympic sculpture.
Sculpture.
Sometimes my tongue gets tied.
It happens.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's going on this weekend as well. And there are going to be all kinds of activities for the kiddos, which I really love. So we have put this all together. If you want to know the deals for yourself, you can text the word deals to 206-448-4545 and you'll get a link to every individual deal. How about that? Not bad, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, can we go to the 5 Hive now? Yay! So I thought I would share this because Beth Naomi Clark also is looking out for us as well, and she posted this really cool article with 33 free things that you can do with your kiddos. So I thought that was pretty neat because a lot of people might be saving money this summer, and Beth gave us a really good link. And then one more thing. When we look into our 5 Hive, I know a lot of you are watching the show live and texting in your comments, so keep those coming. Karen has a question, and actually, we've talked about this before, but she says, now that it's summer, I'm curious to know if anyone has noticed a significant increase in the number of panhandlers asking for money with children by their side.
Yes.
You've noticed it? I live on the East Hill of Kent, but have seen this happening quite a bit lately throughout King County. So she would like to see a report. Also, if you have any stories that you would like to share as well. And then one more thing, Janet posted this from Alaska Airlines, the Torchlight Parade, which is also on July 28th. If you would like to join our 5 Hive, we would love to see you there. You can text Hive to 206-448-4545. Let us know what's going on in your world, whether that is an event or whether you have a question like we just saw.
Story
or
idea.
a story idea. Or just a comment on what's going on in your life.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I saw something recently. There was a woman and she had an infant in a stroller and she was asking for money, and I was just, oh,
It's tough.
yeah.
It is really tough. And I feel like I've always got extra change and money in my car, but it's never enough. And sometimes, like I gave $1 to somebody yesterday off of I-5, and they weren't very nice.
No, really? I tried to get
it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop me from giving, but
like, here's some food. Well, what is it?
sure.
Well, that's what I got here.
Yeah.
So I just do what I can.
yeah. I mean, I get it, but it's just, I was like, it's all I have. I'm sorry.
Complicated.
Yeah. It's complicated. Yeah.
All right, well, let's check in with our producer, Meg. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, so I actually wanted to bring back one of my favorite moments from yesterday. It was really short, but really memorable. Sometimes music just makes you want to dance. Does this remind you of anything? Yeah. We played this music and Michelle just was feeling the groove, so our editor Ryan made a GIF out of it, and this is our all-time favorite. What do you guys think? Yeah, what should we call it? What should we name it? Just the Michelle?
I love that.
Michelle.
I love that. Why are you shrinking?
The Michelle.
Show off your dance moves.
Jump and do the little.
You're welcome, Michelle. We love you.
You got on your head.
Mama Lee got the moves.
We'll be back.